Hello friends, my name is Akshay and you're watching Devotional Study. Today on Devotional Study, we are going to learn how to create a Bootstrap dynamic carousel. So let's get started. So friends, as I said, we are going to create a carousel, a dynamic one, using JavaScript and Firebase. So how can we do that? So here I'll be creating a new project here, a blank new project. So this is a blank new project for this tutorial, and I'll be using one existing database. So I'll be hiding some sensitive information. So I have hidden few information, but I will explain what exactly I'm going to do here. So as you can see here, this is the table I'll be using in this example. So we have these three nodes which has a further children, as in the banner. As we are creating the carousel, there will be a banner, and using that banner, what we are going to do, we're going to actually display these images in front end, but that's not going to be a usual image. It will be a dynamic bootstrap carousel. So how can we do that? So let's start with a project here, and this is the project folder. I'll go ahead and I'll go to the console, and I will start with Firebase in it. So this is the way you are going to set up a project in your local. So it's a very important step. So you need to say yes, because as it says, you are in this particular directory. So I am. So let's start with that. Let's set up a hosting here. We're not going to set up anything else. So let's select hosting, and then we use the existing project, and I'll be hiding the name of the project, so you can go ahead and select the existing project, or if you have a new one, you can select with go ahead with the new one too. All right, so I have selected our default project, and I'll be using a public directory. I'll say yes, and as you can see in this, yeah, we have this public folder created, and this is the index file, but we are not going to use these default behavioral whatever we have got it here. We are not going to use everything here. We'll just delete them all, and we'll just keep the basic HTML what we need with these scripts as well, because we are going to use we are going to connect our database here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to pull all these images, whatever they're in the storage, from the bucket, and I'll display it as a carousel. So let's start with the carousel. Before we do that, what we'll do, we'll go here and we'll just initialize this server, a local server, so that we can test it out. Everything is fine and up running. All right, so we are serving at localhost 5000. So let's go to the browser and run the project. So it says welcome to Firebase hosting on the top. That means we are good. In order to just test it out, so we'll just add the heading, and we'll just test it out. Everything is fine. Testing. All right. So you can see we are working here. All right, so we are able to run it. So now we'll just remove this. Now we're going to create a carousel. For that, I'll be using a few CDNs, because we'll be using Bootstrap, right? So we'll have to use CDN, and we'll just do I'll just add CDN links here. So I have added these three CDNs. You can see here it's for Bootstrap. So one is for jQuery, and other is for the CSS and the JS. All right. So let's go ahead and start creating our carousel. All right. So for that I'll just add one division first. All right. And I'll name the divisions class as container. Okay. I'll just name it as container. As we're using Bootstrap, so we will not be adding a basic CSS or anything like that, because Bootstrap has its own CSS, right? So we are just going to use the classes, the predefined classes given by Bootstrap. All right, so here I'll just add the heading, says carousel. All right, so here, in order to create a carousel, first of all, we need to add a division. All right, in a division, we'll just give an ID, and we'll name the ID as my carousel. All right. All right, so we have given this division an ID, and let's add few classes here because we need a few classes. So we'll just give one class name would be Carousel itself, all right, and other would be slide. So we'll say slide, that's the class name, and then we will just add data hyphen ride, all right, and we'll just say Carousel. All right, so here we have just created a division where we have the body of the carousel ready. Now we'll just create indicators which will say, 1, 2, 3 at the bottom. If you want to show them, you can. Otherwise, you can let them as well. I'm going to create here one ordered list which will be having a class of carousel hyphen indicators because we are going to create indicators. Okay, all right, we just need to fix the spelling here. All right, so we are done with the ordered list body. Here we need to create the structure of the ordered list. So we'll add li, okay, which will be having a data target prop attribute. So the data target would be, this is for my carousel, so we'll just use this ID here and we'll say hash. All right, we'll just pass on the ID of our carousel body and we'll just say data slide to attribute where we're going to pass the index. Okay, so if you have 3 bullets, right, you can add 3 li. If you have 4, you can give accordingly. All right, so here we have given this structure. Now we'll just give a class called active because by default we'll say the first bullet would be active. Now we'll just copy here and we'll just create 2 more because we have 3 images in our database. So we'll just say 1 here and we'll change it to 2. All right, and we'll just remove these classes because by default only one li can be active. All right, so here we have created the ordered list. All right, if you want, you can create an ordered list as well based on your choice. All right, so we'll create one more division here. So now we're going to create a division having a class. Okay, the class name gonna be carousel hyphen inner. That's the class name. Okay, so in this class we are going to add the items, as in the what do we call the slide images. All right, so the image is going to be added here, right? So here we are not going to add anything because this is going to be the dynamic content that we are going to get from the database. All right, the below, after this division we'll add one more division. Okay, or you can say you can add anchor tags. All right, just to add the previous button or the next button on the left and the right hand side of your banner. All right, so for that we will just create the anchor tag, and in the anchor tag we'll pass the class here, and the class name would be, first we will give left and then we'll say carousel control. Yeah, this is the one. All right, you need to pass these ID, and in the href the reference gonna be the ID. All right, so you need to pass the ID of your division here. All right, so this you pass it here, and afterwards you need to add the data slide attribute. It's going to be data slide only, and then here you can say previous. Okay, this is what you need to pass it here, and in between the anchor tag we are going to add span tag because we'll add a icon over there. So for that we are going to use a class. We'll be using glyphicons, so or you can say glyph icons, whatever you want to say. So we'll say glyph icon. Okay, and the icon would be, just copy this, hyphen chevron left. Okay, this is going to be the arrow kind of a thing. All right, which will be added, and then we'll add one more span afterwards, and we'll say the class name would be sr only. So sr only, and then here you can say previous. All right, let's copy this out and we'll create one more for the right hand side of your page, so we'll just say right. Okay, and href id, id is gonna be the same, and this is gonna be next. Okay, and here even we'll say next, and other things would be similar, only we need to change it to right here, this. So we have a structure ready. Okay, let's see what output do we get on the browser. So we'll refresh the page. Do we get anything? Okay, will just inspect the page here. What do we have? Okay, we have the ID here, and we have a division ready, but we don't have data, okay, which needs to be added here. All right, so we'll try to, okay, we need to add data in this box, okay, in this division. Then only we'll get the images from from the Firebase, and we can display it over there. So we'll create one more JS file in order to add the slider. So I'll just say slider.js. Okay, and I'll add this file at the bottom of the page. Say script source slider.js. Okay, I have added this file. Now we need to create a reference of our database, and then we need to create the connection of the database, and similarly we need to add rest of the things. So for that, what do we need to do here? We are going to use JQuery. We'll say document dot ready. We'll say function. We'll assign a variable. Let's see, are we going to use this or not? We'll just figure out later. Now we need to pass a reference of our database. All right, so if I go back to the database here, this is the table name is banner. Okay, I am hiding the database link and the other rest of the information, so you just need to focus it here. So we have these this banner table, and then we have these three nodes, and right, and then we need to pull up this download URL that's gonna be displayed, over there on the front end. All right, for that we need to create a reference. Will the reference, I'm sorry, the reference of the storage. Okay, and this we can use it later if we need any information other than the storage variable. If we need any of these information, we can get it here. All right, so friends, the reason you're able to see this particular part is because I have actually, got the data from the database. So we are not going to get the data from the database. Instead, we need to display the images from the Firebase storage to our home or to our HTML site. All right, so I would apologize and request you to please ignore this part, this particular screen, and focus on the next thing I'm going to cover, because here there is a little confusion actually I got in between. So therefore, now we are not going to focus on the database side. We're going to focus on the storage part, which I'm going to continue. Thank you. So actually the storage contains our images, right? So we need to go to the storage here. I'll just open out the storage. So I'll be still hiding the information. Okay, so you can see here, this is our bucket which says site banner, and we have these three images. So we are going to use this storage reference. Okay, we are not going to use the reference of our database. We're going to use the reference of our storage. I'll show you how can we do that. All right, for that, similarly, the way we created this banner ref, we need to create the storage ref as well. So we'll say var banner storage ref equal to firebase dot storage dot ref. That's it. Okay, and this is gonna be this. All right, now we just use this reference. We'll say banner storage ref dot child. So the bucket name we need to mention after this, because we have the storage reference. Now we need to use the bucket. So bucket name I have given site banner. Okay, you must have seen it over there. So it should be site banner, and then we're going to list all the content. Okay, I have even covered this part in my other videos, where you need to if you need to get all the images at once, you need to use this method called list all, and then we could create the promises. Then function in the braces will say result, and then we'll initialize the parenthesis. Okay, now here we need to get the items. Now we have the reference of the storage. Now we'll use result dot items. Okay, you need to use the items in order to get all the values. Okay, so and then we can initialize with for each loop, which will get all the images one by one. All right, that's how we need to get the image. Okay, and we can say this is gonna be the image ref. All right, this is the image ref snapshot we are getting. All right, so we'll just console it out in order to check whether we are getting the proper value or not. All right, so far are we going to get the image or not? So we'll just say image ref dot to string. All right, here, and then we'll just go back to the browser, reload the page, and in order to get the references. All right, we are getting all the three images as reference here, you can see. All right, we'll just go back to our code here, and now we're going to add the dynamic HTML here. All right, that is the only thing left because we are getting the link, the download URL, would I could say, but this is the reference we are getting. We need to convert this reference into the download URL. All right, for that we have a property called imageref dot. We need to use the method given by Firebase, which says get download URL. The method name is get download URL dot. Now we get the promise here, and in the promise we can catch out, we can catch, or we can get the download URL, actual URL, because if you can go back to the console, this is not the URL what we're getting. We need to convert this thing into the URL. So for that we need to use this section. Okay, I'll say download URL. Okay, and uh, in this section we are going to add our dynamic HTML. All right, so we'll say I plus plus. If you want to enhance, if you want to cache the property of I, you can use this I plus plus here, because it will add the value every time you will get, every time you will get an image. So here we'll just add one more thing, and that's gonna be the active class, because every time the banner gets updated, what happens, the first banner gonna be the active banner. We don't want all the banners to get the active class, otherwise we will not be able to get the carousel available on the web page, right? So in order to achieve that target, we are going to create a variable called active, and we'll say I equal to 1. If it is 1, that means that is the first value, because we have just now initiated I plus plus, and we are taking I equal to 0 on the top. So if it's 1, then we'll say active. Okay, if it's not, then we'll say nothing, no class needs to be assigned. And we are going to use this in our dynamic HTML. So in order to create a dynamic HTML, we will create the division here. All right, and then we'll append whatever the division we are going to create, and whatever the property we are going to create here, we'll append to the class. Okay, the class we created in HTML side, that is let me show you. This is the class. We'll just copy this class, because we're going to append the divisions, the dynamic property, to this class. Okay, so we'll say we need to use this dot in front of it. All right, now we need to add the dynamic HTML, right? So I'll just go back to one another line here. You can, okay, let's not do that. All right, so let's create a division here. Okay, and in this division we'll call the class as, I'm sorry, equal to item. The class name needs to be item. All right, because these are the items, and if it's item, we need to concatenate the active property. So for that we'll just add the this variable what we have created. So what it does, it'll append this active class to this class. All right, that's how we're going to add it. So we just remove this, we'll just remove this double quotes, and we'll add it here, so that this class needs will go inside this class attribute. All right, it will be assigned because it's the first element, and if it's not, this class will not be available over there. So that's how we're going to achieve it. Now we need to add the image img tag, and in the source attribute, what we are going to do, we are going to pass the download URL what we are getting on from, from, yeah, this is the download URL, we're going to pass it here. All right, so that's how we are going to add the src variable, and we just close this braces. All right, here we need to close the division. All right, this is how we are going to create our banner. Now one more thing we need to do, we need to add the indicators as well. Okay, but what we did here, we have added these static indicators. We don't need to add these static indicators because we need to see, this is the fixed one. All right, these are the fixed one bullets what we'll be getting, but we don't need these one because we are getting a dynamic HTML. So based on the number of images, we'll get the number of indicators too. All right, so we'll just say one more thing, one more time. We'll just say dot, and we'll go to the next line. We'll say append to, and where are we going to append this? We are going to append this to the Carousel indicators class. All right, so here we'll pass the class name with the dot, and here we need to pass the same HTML, this HTML li tag. So I'll copy it and we'll just make few basic changes. So I have added this data target, and now we just need to change the data slide to. Here we will pass the I variable so that we'll be getting the count of it. So if it's 2, then it will go till 2. All right, that's how it will work. After this result parenthesis is getting closed, we need to add few more things in order to display our cursor. All right, dollar dot, we'll just use the cursor method, all right, in order to display the cursor. All right, and we'll just pass this cursor ID. All right, I hope it will work fine. Let's go back to the browser, reload the page, and let's see how it works. All right, you can see we are getting this carousel, and we have these indicators. As I said, we need to add the left and right button, and if we slide, you can see at the bottom we have 3 because we have 3 images getting from the database. So these are the images what we have. All right, these are the banners what we have in the browser based on different dimensions. You can see we have this dynamic carousel available. So I hope you guys like this video because it's like a basic cursor. You can create more design into this. I hope you have liked this video, and if you have liked this video, please do subscribe to my channel and hit the like button. Share this video with your friends, and I'll see you in the next tutorial, guys. Till then, keep coding. Have a nice day. Bye bye.